Okay, it is Monday, January 24th, 6:32 p.m., and I will call the workshop meeting for District 717 to order. We have 3 items on the agenda tonight: an overview of kindergarten registration, an update, and an overview of the middle school registration and the high school registration. We will start with kindergarten registration, and I believe we will call Ms. Barnett to the stand and turn it over to her. Thank you.
All right, good evening, board. Thank you so much for letting me come in and talk about our process for kindergarten this year. We are very excited. This process actually started back, I believe, in November when we started looking at the planning process for being able to identify our students and our families in our census that we wanted to be able to communicate with for the upcoming school year for families who had children who were up to come into kindergarten, who were going to be 5 years old in September. So this process here outlines what we're doing currently and then what's up and coming for the next couple of months through the summer into the fall. So looking at how we work with our preschool programs as well as how we cross-reference all of our enrollment data with St. John's as well. Jamie is a big part of that now in the district office, so she's working with our office staff at the elementary school to make sure that we're now being able to cross-reference maybe mailings that were coming back with wrong addresses, those types of things, phone calls, emails that we're getting from families that are just making some adjustments to their actual enrollment. So this is some data, some historical data that shares where we've been at with enrollment. So as you can see, we are at looking for this past year, we were at a projected enrollment of 116 kindergartners. We actually had 127 this school year. For next fall, and I wanted to make sure that Amy Heffman and I checked these numbers, we are actually looking at 223 students in our census that are possibly students who could join us for kindergarten. Now, we know that there's a lot of other data to dig deeper into, so that's what we have listed below. We know right now we have, out of those 223 students, 14 are currently enrolled at St. John's. We know that there are 11 that are planning on attending elsewhere or homeschooling. We know also that there are about 19 who have moved out of the district so far that we've been able to thank you. Take a look at. We also know that there are families when we send out communications that we just don't get responses from. We had a call actually today, a family called and said, hey, we got a postcard, but that family no longer lives here. We're not sure where they're currently at. So we have those things that happen from time to time. We also know in talking with Miss Jenna Wendorf that we often have families who choose to enroll their child in preschool again, even though they are 5 years old and able to attend kindergarten. For various reasons, they think it's a better fit for their child to do another year of preschool. So there's approximately 10. And then currently this year, we have 3 students that are in our C, our Southwest Metro Online Academy, that we could potentially see a few families choose that route as well. So when we take a look at all of that information, you'll see there's some probable numbers, things that we take into account when we say, out of those 223, about how many could we possibly expect for kindergarten for the fall? So you can go ahead and go to the next one here, Jamie. Thank you. So this is our timeline that we've been working off of. We've worked right alongside preschool, like I said before, our community education director as far as putting information in our brochure. That went home to families online as well as in a mailing. When we look at other communications that we've sent out recently, we've had a postcard that this year we decided to pair with preschool, which was a really nice way to give families just that opportunity to say, For our earliest learners, here are the things that are coming up for them as far as decisions. It's either to look at registering for preschool again or to think about kindergarten. So we decided to put that on one postcard this year, which was, I think, really helpful for families. In January, we've been doing a lot of work as an administrative team. Like I said, primarily Ms. Wendorf, Mr. Stephen, our committee head director, Mr. Jensen, thank you, and just other members of the kindergarten team, just making sure that we're all getting together and looking at preparing for this process. We're here tonight to seek your feedback as a board as well. And then we'll continue to look at making those social media blasts this Thursday. I have a in-person parent informational night for families to attend. It will also be live streamed. We want to make sure we have that option for families as well. When we get into February, we're getting to our roundup, which is our in-person event that will happen in February on the 24th. And just continuing to push that information out to families as far as registering early. Right now, we communicate that we want our families to register by February 15th. However, by no means are we going to close that registration. It's going to continue to be open all summer, even into the fall. But the earlier we can get families committed and registered, the better. I didn't have a chance to check today with Elise or Jamie, but I think last week we were at 33, mid-30s already for families who are registered for kindergarten. And that's only with like the postcard information. I sent an email communication as well to our families on the census. So we've already gotten and generated those registrations. And then March and April and May will just be continuing following up. We started a process last year where our office staff made phone calls to families, especially when we got into June and July, to just ask where they're at with their commitment to starting school in the fall with us. So that will continue as well to make sure that we're really finding the best way to communicate and offer support to our families if they have any questions for us. I continue to take families on tours. I just scheduled another one today for a family who can't attend Roundup on the 24th. So I have a lot of families too who just find time that works for them to come in and see our school and to just see what we're all about at the elementary school. So I had said before, we have 223 students in our census. Amy and I talked, and when we factor in all of those pieces of information, we're looking at a probable total number of around 148. Now, Amy is always really conservative, so she'll actually put a little less into the budget for the fall. But yet, when we take into consideration all of the factors, all of the total numbers, that's where we're thinking we're going to land. So when we look at sections, historically we've had 6 sections of kindergarten, and that gives you the class size that we've had over the years. I want to just point out there seems to be kind of that outlier in 2021. That was our COVID year when we had restrictions on social distancing. So we had to adhere to different class size thresholds because of that. One thing to point out, if we are looking at about 148 probable case students, I know at our retreat this last weekend we talked about class size, and our threshold right now is at that 25 mark. And if we look at 148 and we put it into 6 sections, that's roughly 25, 26 students in a classroom. So those are things that we'll continue to monitor as always. Renee and I always have those conversations from now until, early summer, midsummer, even late August, to just see where we're sitting for class sizes and how many students. And also just to keep in mind, when we staff for the elementary school, we're staffing due to our enrollment. So even though we might increase a section in kindergarten potentially, we might move something else differently around the rest of the building based on enrollment. So that's just something to also keep in mind. And here's those projections again. Like I said, Amy's always really conservative, so she's right now going to plug in 110 kindergarten students into our budget, so that we can just know that if we go higher, that's a really bonus, and we can, at least know that when we're trying to think of the financial side of things, we can staff and build resources from that number, and then knowing that if we need to make adjustments, we will. This just dives deeper into our timeline on some of the specifics that are happening even into the summer months. Just so you know, Elise has done a really great job. There's a button to click on up above there with a calendar that highlights the communications that she's doing and things that she's put out to families. So that's something that is available for you to look at as well. It just digs deeper into what specific types of communication, emails, social media blasts, things like that. That's on her agenda and her calendar. And like I said before, she and I were meeting again tomorrow to make sure everything's ready to go for Thursday's presentation. So she's been great and helpful in this process. Any questions on the timeline? I'll kind of just pause right there. I know it's a lot of information, so maybe just to take a little break right here might be appropriate. Okay, we'll go to the next slide. So these are some of the important dates coming up. So like I stated before, this Thursday is our Welcome to Jordan Elementary School presentation just to parents. We'd like to be able to have it be where Thursday is really giving the attention to our family members. Obviously, we won't turn families away if they have to bring their kiddos because of daycare and things like that. We totally understand. But we want families to be able to have the ability to really focus in and ask questions. We have a presentation that's a lot of those frequently asked questions that families often have. So we'll run through those on Thursday. February 24th is when our new kindergartners will come to the building. We typically have 2 sessions that we offer for that. We bumped it a little bit later this year. We used to have one starting right at 3:30, and it was just too quick of a turnaround after the school day, and we know we had families that were picking up other kids, and so this year we shifted it from 4 to 4:45 and 4 to 4:45, 5 to 5:45. So it's just kind of a come to either session that works best for you. And that's when families get to go and meet the teachers. They get to do a scavenger hunt around the building. Their kiddos get to have cookies and milk. Kelly Razor's doing our catering again for us this year, which is really great. And then when we get into, like I said, June and July, we'll be making those phone calls once again to just those families who we haven't heard from yet or haven't committed. What's really helpful is when we met with preschool. Their registration is due, I believe it's February 2nd. Thank you, Elise. So we wanted to make sure that we had timelines that aligned so that families were committing to preschool. If it was something that they knew they were kind of deciding between that and kindergarten, then shortly after is a kindergarten registration deadline. So it's really helping families to make some informed decisions earlier rather than later. And then our Kickstart to Kindergarten program. I believe this is either our 5th or our 6th year doing Kickstart to Kindergarten. Our kindergarten teachers and the rest of our staff each year tweak things a little bit as far as how we want to run this. It's looked different the last couple of years due to COVID. But this past year we ran it kind of in a normal fashion once again with a few adjustments with things related to COVID. But this is a sample of the schedule of those 2 days. It's this year, August 29th and the 30th. It really runs like a typical day at school. And what I've often heard from families and kiddos when they come to back to school conferences for kindergarten, which is a few days after Kickstart, I've heard so many positive things as far as the kids come in. The kids are basically running down the hallway. They know where to go. They know where their classrooms are. They show their parents where the lunchroom is. All of that. Families are just so surprised that their 5-year-old's already that comfortable and that independent in our building. So it's really a testament to this program and what our staff does to prepare our littles to come to school. And of course, the most important part of our presentation is our kiddos. These are our current kindergartners. We've just been so fortunate to have all of our kids in person this year and doing some, fantastic things. I think once again, it's a testament to our staff. They've done an amazing job amidst a lot of different challenges still that we've had this year. Any questions, comments, or any feedback that you can offer as we're making some adjustments and tweaks as we get prepared for this Thursday and then looking at Roundup?
It looks very thorough, very comprehensive, very complete. It seems earlier to me, even though I know it's not, but it does. It does seem earlier because I'm thinking of when like my kids went to kindergarten. I think it was more like a March and April, and when I was involved in PTO, it was more March and April. And I like that we're capturing this and getting to it earlier rather than later. So kudos.
And we're aligned to most of the districts around us. Many of our neighboring districts are following a similar timeline. I know when I got a call from a family about a tour in December. St. John's has their registration in December that's happening. So that kind of prompted some of those families too to want to tour our building so that they could make an informed decision. So everybody's just being able to get to that place of wanting to get the information out to parents earlier and earlier each year. All right. Well, thank you so much for letting me come in and share about our process. Like I said, we're excited to see our new families on Thursday and then our new kindergartners at the end of February.
So I'm going to jump in here, and I also want to say thank you to the team. I really have appreciated the amount of time that has been put into this and the thought. I agree, Lauren, it is super thorough, and I think it makes a difference for families to be able to prepare. And I feel like any kindergarten family might feel like, oh my goodness, we're never ready for that, right? But this process is just so welcoming, so I'm very excited about it. One of the pieces of feedback we received last school year was it sure would be nice to have a video or something that really can show our families what we're about in kindergarten. And so I tasked Elise and team with the challenge of come up with a video. And so they've been conducting interviews and just taping our kids and doing some really unique things. And so this will be the world premiere of the kindergarten video. I'll have Jamie click play and we'll show you that. And then after tonight, it's going to go live to our families.
Hi there, I'm Stephanie Olsted, and I am one of the kindergarten teachers here at Jordan Elementary School. I think one of the things that makes Jordan Elementary really unique and really special is that we still have a small town feel. We have fairly small class sizes. We have an amazing team of kindergarten teachers that really, truly, and genuinely care about kindergarten kids and really working together to help them be successful in whatever way we need to help them learn and grow. The skills that we work on throughout the year, we work on letter names and letter sounds all throughout kindergarten. We really focus on the letter names right away, right when we come to kindergarten. Then we move into sounds and then using those sounds to blend words, using those sounds to write, using sight words and sounds to read and to write. We also work on numbers, adding, subtracting, shapes, 3D shapes. We work on all sorts of social studies and science concepts. We hatch chicks in the spring and we have butterflies. And then we also work on lots of social emotional skills, lots of ways that we can be good friends and how to work together in a community. One of the biggest ways that we prepare kids for the rest of elementary school is in the social emotional avenue. We really get them at the beginning and we get to teach them what it's like to function in a classroom, what it's like to work cooperatively, how to be kind, how to be empathetic, really showing them what it's like to be in a classroom, in a group, and how to navigate sometimes tough situations, sometimes celebrations. We get to help them learn all of those pieces of how to work with other people and how to go about their day at school.
Hi, my name is Michael Roiger. I am a kindergarten teacher here at Jordan Elementary School. I think something that makes Jordan Elementary so special and unique is the way that we start our year. We get to do something called Kickstart, which is where the kiddos get to see all of the different teachers. They get to see the paraprofessionals that will be in the classroom supporting each other. And it's just such a great way for the kiddos to get a chance to be in the classroom before the school year really starts. And they get to see things, they get to see the specialists, and they really get to see the whole school and see what it's all about. My favorite thing about working with kindergarten students is their love for learning. They come in here and some of them have been to preschool, some of them have had no experience, but really they just love to learn. No matter what the topic is, if it's English, math, or science, or social studies, they just want to learn, and they are so happy about getting a chance to learn in the school. I think that kindergarten is awesome for getting students ready to be a student for the rest of their time in school. And that's because we're doing a lot of classroom building activities. We're building a community here. We're showing what it is like to be in a classroom. And we're really showing exactly how to be a student, right? There's some students, like I said, that have been here before. There's some students who have never been here. So it's just a great opportunity for them to be in a classroom, get those basic foundational skills that they need before they go into first and second grade.
Hello, I'm Melissa Barnett. I'm the principal here at Jordan Elementary School. I would have to say the best part of being here at school with our kindergartners is their just pure joy and love of learning, their curiosity, their wonder, their excitement for when they learn something new that they didn't know before, whether it's learning things academically, if it's learning information about a new friend that they made, or things that just are those moments that they just light up. Our kindergartners are often those kids that are skipping down the hallway, they're dancing in the hallway, because they're just such happy little people. My hope for families coming here to Jordan Elementary School is that that ability to know that their child is going to have their needs met, whether it's academically, socially, emotionally, mental health, their physical needs, their needs are going to be met here in a way that I think is so different. We have so many great staff that are constantly checking in with one another, all about just one kid. The energy we put into individual students here, I don't think can be matched in many schools. I think when we get to a place of talking about students here, there's so many people involved as far as knowing that student and what that student needs, or just having those special stories or memories. All of those memories that are started here in our district and in our school are ones that kids walk away with and often talk about at graduation.
That's really good.
Right, so if you have any additional questions on kindergarten, we are ready to go and welcome families.
Are you putting that video? Are you putting that video on the district website, or are you pushing it out on Twitter,
I think
Facebook?
all of the above.
All of it. It's
All
going
the above.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So once we see it, we can start sharing it. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And actually, I think Elise, is it live tomorrow? Tonight. We wanted to make sure it was vetted through the board tonight before it went live, but now after tonight, if people call, if they want to know more information, everything now is being directed to our Countdown to Kindergarten site on our district website. So that's where we're going to start housing all of our information.
Excellent. I love it. I love the video. It was awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks,
team.
you guys.
Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, on to middle school registration.
So tonight, for middle school registration, we have a special guest who is joining us, Jeff Fisner, the high school principal, will be doing double duty.
This will be the shortest the middle school has ever presented.
And we thank you. No.
What's that? No, this is all just for high school. Here's what I have for notes for Ben. It's right down below that mark there. Really, everything, Ben did a nice job of posting everything that you need to know. I'll hit on the highlights here. Updates and changes. They changed the title of each document from a catalog to a handbook. Just, more like cosmetic stuff. Removed the social worker and counselor from the title page. Added fifth grade academy. So then there's two classes that they added. They added a fifth grade academy, which is, I think, kind of somewhat coming off of the ninth grade academy and helping students in transition from the elementary school to the middle school. Really looks like a good idea. They're going to work on technology basics, organization strategies, communication skills, and then some internet safety, social media, and healthy choices for students. So that's going to be added. And I guess I should take a step back and let you know that all of Ben's presentation and my presentation went through the Curriculum and Technology Committee also. So we met in December and talked about all of this also. Then, sixth grade band and choir, what they did was they added a general music class, and this was done in conjunction with the whole music team. And so they added general music, and I'll just read it to you. So general music gives students an opportunity to explore the variety of music genres. Students will learn about a variety of topics, included but not limited to American music, world music, drumming, guitar, and composition. No evening performance requirements. However, students will conclude the class by creating a self-directed project, which will apply their knowledge from the course. So this was another class that was added. Students have to have at least one of band, choir, or the general music now in fifth grade. All right? And then lastly, they took a social media production class out of the eighth grade handbook because not enough students were choosing that. So that's what middle school has for changes in their handbook. Any questions about that at all? Oh, go ahead, Cindy.
Sorry, I just have one. I was just curious. Is there a reason why the social worker and counselor are removed from the title page?
I have no idea on that one. I don't know either.
just
That's
seems
something we didn't talk about.
random.
It was just a
Yeah.
random, I don't know if they put it inside and it's just not on the front cover anymore.
Okay.
Or what.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have an
It's
answer
just
for
kind of
that.
random.
Yeah. And then, if you want to scroll back down, and their timelines, they will do a video or a virtual course overview, and they'll be doing the registrations the 16th, 17th, and 18th. So, and then Ben's last recommendation is that you approve his.
And he didn't need to do that because it's not up for action. So he just was being extra thorough. Yeah.
All right. Correct. Yep. No, there's no type of like, you go and register there. It's all virtual now. It's all, well, not virtual, it's all digital. Sorry, I should stand next to the mic. It's all done through Infinite Campus. So the students, I'm assuming it's the same way at the middle school, at the high school. The students log into their Infinite Campus account and plug in all of their classes themselves. And what that does for us is then that allows us to be able to pull those numbers almost immediately and be able to say, all right, we need X number of social studies classes, this many science classes, et cetera.
Can you just scroll down to that music thing once for me? Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was year-long or if it was, so basically you can choose, that's good to know. You don't have to do a performance-based class if you don't want to and you're still getting music.
Yep.
Yep. And there was quite a bit of discussion on that, and I think bottom line was the music people came to Ben with that, including and in conjunction with both Ms. McKnight and Mr. Burnside at the high school too. And because I think there can be some pluses and minuses of that.
Absolutely.
students
I
not
feel like
having that
we used to
performance.
have that before, though,
I feel like Landon had it.
right? I feel like
we
we've had this.
He was in, yeah.
Yes,
I feel
yep.
like that was.
And then fifth grade academy, that is a required class. So that will be just like ninth grade.
Each
So it'll be
student will
just
take
for
it, yep.
freshmen.
Yep.
Each fifth grader will have to take that course.
Yep.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That's a great transition. I feel like the freshman academy is a great transition, so.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. And there's some things they're doing in there that I look and I'm like, we need to do some more of that stuff too in ninth grade.
So Jeff, I presume that both at the middle school and the high school, there's a lot of promotion of parent involvement, working with their kids to make those choices,
Yep.
so the kids aren't just choosing the easy stuff and.
Right, yep. And I can, as we move into mine, I can speak more to that, but we'll be, we'll do ours on February 9th. We'll have our parent meeting, it's virtual. We actually have found one thing through COVID, you know, there's lots of things that have been challenges, but some have been really good. We found that our parent registration night information was probably tenfold more attended virtually than it ever had been in person. And really, when you start thinking about it, on February 9th on a dark night on a Wednesday, do you really want to go out of your house? So, but people may turn on their computers, so I think it's like kind of learning from the things that we never thought of before. And I'll be sending out a communication to our high school parents, hopefully by Thursday, with all of our registration information too. Yeah. Any questions about the middle school? I don't have any answers anyway. All right, let's talk about the fun stuff then. And again, ours was also vetted by the, you want to change Jamie for this? Hey, no problem. And like I said, we went through and walked through things too. Just some guidelines or things that we changed. We adjusted descriptions for business classes and computer classes. The classes didn't change, just updating and fixing some of those pieces. If you just go to the agenda, there you go. Nope, down to the bottom. There you go. Adjusted description for creative communications. Mr. Rydberg has really kind of adjusted that class from being just a creating of videos to they could do podcasts, videos, all kinds of different things. In consultation with our social studies department, we are moving away from our government and law class because it's similar to a class that's offered through Southwest Metro and adding our geography class back. Every other year courses were adjusted in the book, and then just general cleanup of typos and grammar. So that's just some of the changes. Then new courses. We added our business, marketing, and economics class back to try and see if we can drum up support again for students to take that class. Hopefully we will find students that want to do that. 0 hour max. I guess if you want to scroll down, Jamie, are there any questions on BME? I think everybody's been here long enough that they know what that class is, and it's just putting it back into the course book. So if you scroll down again, the next one is a 0 hour max lifting class. This was the idea of Mr. Sand and Mr. Heller. And so what 0 hour is, we don't really have any 0 hour classes, but if you can imagine, first hour is at 8:15, so 0 hour goes 7:10 to 8 o'clock. So it's an opportunity for students to come in the morning, get their lift in, and get a credit, an elective credit. It won't be their Phi-Ed credit, it'll be an elective credit. And so it'd be just another way to try to grow that program and meet some of the needs of students who are really busy in a lot of areas. And it could potentially open up for some students to have a study hall that maybe haven't had a study hall before. They want to take a lifting class during the day, or they want to take some kind of class, and there's just not enough time in the schedule because there's only 8 or really 7 class periods during the day. So this opens up an 8th opportunity for some students. And right now it's only in the max lifting program, but eventually if this is successful, we would try to look at some other teachers that may be willing to come in early and then adjust their schedules that way too. So the reasoning is all listed there. It's just really another opportunity to get them up and going in the morning. And it would be 2 teachers, and really it doesn't do anything financially to change. Mr. Heller would be part of his teaching day. Mr. Sand already gets a stipend for this, for teaching the max class in the morning, so it wouldn't change what he has going there.
I have a quick question that I
Sure.
think of when we were going over it in the curriculum committee. So kids in the past have been able to letter for this, correct? So they can't do both, am I correct? Or can they?
We just wouldn't letter them. If they're choosing to register for this
Right,
as a
get it
class, we
credit.
wouldn't have them letter.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Because they can still letter for it in the summer
Right.
and in other seasons,
Right.
so, yeah. So that's a great question, something I hadn't really thought about, but I just would see that as, they would choose one or the other
Yeah,
of the
that's kind
paths.
of what I thought.
Yeah, good question. Any other thoughts on this, or feedback, or questions on the max?
So they can still go without registering, is that what without registering kind of the class?
Good question. You know, I think we'll have to see what our numbers look like and see what the weight room looks like. It might be that we have to offer a separate, we might have two going on at the same time, depending on the numbers. So I think it'll be something that we have to look at to see if there's, okay, we don't want to take it as a class. We want to just do this. I don't know why you wouldn't, but,
Well, if you want a letter,
oh,
then you would take it.
yeah, yeah. But I would guess most kids would rather get the elective credit. But we'll work with that.
Well, right
if that
now, are
comes up.
we also offering it to 7th and 8th grade in the morning, I want to say? Then that would not
And
be.
then that would be the next goal, is that, and I know Ben has looked at this too, and the next goal would be to implement something similar in the middle school
Okay.
here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because I know right now 7th and 8th grade can come.
Mhm.
So next year they can.
I think what they'll have to do is set up an auxiliary, like they're gonna have to set up basically two different sections or two different areas. And I know right now, like some are in the gym, some are in the multi-purpose room, and some are in the weight room. And I'm just guessing that they will have another person. So Mr. Heller and Mr. Sand, who are both licensed PE teachers, Mr. Sand has both special ed and PE, they would be teaching this, and there'd probably be somebody else, like Mr. Nylander comes in, Miss Valerius comes in, Mr. Peters, they all come and help with Max, so they would probably come in and work with our younger students.
Yeah, because I was just thinking logistically also, like once you register through community ed,
Yep.
and the other one, which is a fee,
Yep.
and the other one you would register as a course.
Yep.
So just logistically
Yep.
figuring that out.
Yeah. And that would be the advantage of registering for it, is then you wouldn't have a fee for it anymore,
Mhm.
you know, for the high school kids.
Yep.
Yeah, good question. All right, then the next one, any other thoughts on Max? The next one will be art, health, and wellness. And this was the collaboration of Miss Valerius and Miss Barn, trying to find ways to put both art and health down and combining. And it's really kind of, as they talked about in the elementary video about social emotional wellness, really looking at finding ways for students to kind of find what fits them. And you don't have to be an art star to be a part of this, but kind of goes with, each day will have a different theme. It could be about movement, it could be about art, it could be writing, social emotional learning, relationships or conversations. It's kind of a combination. Right now, Miss Valerius teaches a class called Women's Wellness. And that class is really, like over the last 2 years, I've just seen it really grow for the young women in our school, of an opportunity to just, they do movement, they do different types of journaling, and they really build their relationships. And this group has really come together and built this like really solid foundation together. And I think this is building on that idea and adding some art pieces into it too. One of the things, and Aaron mentioned this at our retreat, but I really push our staff to think outside the box and try to create new things. And so I don't know if students will sign up for it, but I really think it's a good idea and another opportunity for students. So that's that class. Any questions on the?
I was gonna say it's a great opportunity. It looks like you can get half of your fine art credit.
Yeah.
For that too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's a good opportunity for kids to then, you know, if they're not really art-based or performance-based or whatever, then that's another great opportunity for them to express themselves in other ways.
Yep, I would agree. All right, then the next one, this one came from Miss Jans, and Miss Jans was reviewing all of her different standards for facts. And what came out of it is this is the only one where we don't offer a class. And though it's in the facts realm, it really almost has a business lean to it. When you read the description, it talks about building relationships and positive relationships, including communication skills, leadership, teamwork, collaboration, conflict prevention, resolution. And those things are all family-based, but they're also in everything we do every day. And so this class could really fall under business. I mean, if you just change it to interpersonal relationships. But it has a facts foundation to it. And so it's kind of it's just another opportunity for students to grow their communication skills. Any thoughts on this one? If this one grows, I think it'll be interesting because there's only so much of Ann Jan's that we can schedule. And so it'll be interesting. I think Casey, I can't remember Casey's new name here she got married and I can't remember her new married name, but at the middle school here for FACS is also pretty busy. So we'll have to see how the numbers turn out on that. And then the last one, World Geography, is a class we've hosted in the past, and it's on our every other year rotation. And our teachers, our social studies teachers who I lean on, said we want more World Geography. We think our students have said that, and that's what we want to go back to. So we've added it back in. Nothing new to that class. It's something we've done for years. And just over the last few years, students hadn't taken World Geography. Now they're hearing back that they want that back in. So just offering that in our social studies electives. So all students in junior, senior year have to take 1/2 credit of an elective in social studies. So this is one of them. Any questions with World Geography? All right. Then lastly, Southwest Metro, and they're listed in there, but offers a couple new classes, and they're just awesome. And I know that it's a catch-22 because we want to keep our students with us, but they have an aviation tech drones type class that they're offering next year for the first time. Looks really cool. And an electrical technician, which is basically a residential electrician class, which will have some certifications to it. So really good classes that, at a school our size, we just can't offer and staff. So just some really good options that Southwest Metro is hearing from their students and from their connections out in the work world. So that's all the new classes. So just going over timelines. What we'll do is Ms. Whiteside is currently revamping our videos. So we have a video that the students watch before we meet with them. So these videos will be released each day for each different grade. And I'll start with 8th grade. 8th grade actually is in person on the 14th. They'll meet with them for the first time in math class, which works really well because Ms. Kuski will be the other person in there, and she knows the course registration book, so it'll be a good combination with our 8th grade students. And then on the 24th, they'll register. Now with the rest of our students, 9, 10, and 11, what we'll do is on the 7th, we will release a video for 9th grade. So the 9th graders will watch that in SNAP class, or they should, and they'll have the video that talks about the registration process. Then on the 8th, we'll meet with all students during SNAP, and then on the 15th, they'll register. And then we're just doing that. It'll be the 8th, 9th, and 16th for the 10th grade, and then the 9th, 10th, and 17th for the 11th graders. And again, we'll do our parent meeting on February 9th. So again, there'll be videos for each of the groups to look at, watch, to understand the registration process. Then we'll meet with them and answer questions. And then we go into their classes all day on the 15th, 16th, and 17th and register them for classes. And so Ms. Whiteside and myself will go in. Students have their registration sheets and have one of the key things is for them to make sure that they have their alternative classes or their alternates, because that's what we deal with today, kids saying, but I don't want that class. And we say, well, that was your alternate class. And they say, but I don't want it. Then why did you put it down? But anyway, so we just really help them with that and try to help them register. And like Molly, to answer your question, they go on to Infinite Campus and they'll type in all their course registration numbers. And then, hopefully for the most part, we will have our numbers. We'll know our numbers by like the 22nd, 23rd. Superintendent Evenson and I will meet. We'll go over, and you talked about this last week with Amy, and we'll go line by line. All right. Civics has 142 students in it. That's 5 sections, averages 32, 33, boom, 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 boom. And we go through and talk about what the course average sizes are. Whatever, course ABC has 15 kids, but it's a safety issue, so I think we should still run that class. Course C has 7 kids. It's done. We dump it. We move on. You know, and like, so that's what we do. We get all those numbers. We talk to our staff about what they have for FTE, and I work with each department to talk about who's going to teach those classes. And then by mid-April, we start the process of the master schedule, which is a giant, giant task with this big giant board and lots of erasers and lots of different things. It's a really cool process, but it's really involved with like just lots of steps to it. Because of our class size, and there's something called singletons. Have I ever talked to you guys about this before? So when we do our master schedule, singletons are classes that we only offer one of, and so we have to try and avoid the singletons from going against each other. So like we try to avoid symphonic band going against something else that's a singleton. And eventually at some point, kids have to make decisions because there's only, you know, if a student's taking a bunch of CIS, CE classes, plus band or choir, something's got to give because there's only 7 hours in the day. But we really try to avoid those as much as possible. And we start with all of our senior classes and just move our way down so that seniors don't have to make choices if we can help it. They still do, but we really try to avoid that. And sometimes juniors won't get the classes they want, but we're like, you can take that as a senior. So that's kind of how the whole process goes. Any questions about anything else with registration? I'm with you, Lauren. Seems like it gets earlier and earlier every year for registering.
Yeah, but it's good
Yeah.
because it's preparation. So I think it's a good thing.
Okay, well, that is what we have scheduled for our work session this evening.
Great, thank you, Mr. Visitor. Any other questions or comments? If not, we are adjourned.